Two, one. Hello, everybody. We are getting into the stream here. Hello, it's a very early morning for us over here at Devakins. You know the drill. My name is Liz. To the left of me is Sergio, or sorry, to the
Hello.
right. Either or, it depends on the screen where I'm looking at it. A fun thing we are going to do today is we are doing a 5 collector's pack giveaway. So, what we need everybody to do, if you're interested in picking up a collector's pack, subscribe to the channel and post your wallet code in the comments. You can post the first 5 digits, last 5 digits if you don't want to post the whole thing.
No, actually, we
Or,
need everything.
My bad.
unless,
No
no,
coffees in me
unless,
yet.
yeah, no, unless they are non-players, so we can fetch that from the database. But if they are new players, or if they can help us, just put the whole wallet address.
Okay, so
Yeah.
listen to Sergio. Don't listen to me. Post the wallet address in the comments. We're going to be selecting 5 random users to give away a collector's pack to, each individually. So this is going to go similar to our earlier batteries of NFTs, or not NFTs, but the NFT AMA. My apologies. So we're going through community questions asked to us throughout the week, and we're going to answer them to the best of our ability. So we'll get into it straight out, right? Because you guys are here to hear some news from us about the game, about gameplay, about the marketplace, about the shop. Soft minting to hard minting, we know that's a pretty big question. So we want to go through and give you guys some more information to work with as we get closer to a release date for the actual game. So we're going to start off with a question from Bisaya Devakins from the Exalted Guild. Will there be an updated white paper of the NFTs or just updated white papers in general? If yes, can we expect that to release anytime soon?
Okay. No plan for any NFT white paper update because I think all the NFT information is out there now. We might have a white paper for the combat itself, talking about skills, equipment, but when that time is getting closer, which should be next year. So no white paper soon.
Okay, so moving on from the white paper question, we have another which I know a lot of people have been asking, right? This is a pretty big one from Remel Stereo. When's the marketplace going to open?
Yeah, we don't have a date. We're still building that in partnership with Clever, and it's looking good. We shared a sneak peek last week. I think probably sometime in November. I don't want to do that like a hard and people start countdown, but probably you're gonna see the marketplace dropping sometime in November.
Okay, so
Yeah.
not a concrete
Yeah,
date, right? We can't give an exact time yet, right? Software
yeah,
is
but
software.
probably that's gonna drop before the beta. Yeah.
Awesome. And a lot of people have been concerned about actually competing against other players, right? A lot of people have common and uncommon NFTs, right? Because
Mhm.
higher rarities are harder to get, right?
Yeah.
The chance of them dropping is significantly lower than, I mean, if it's common, it's common. You're going to see a lot more of it. So Dex asks us the question, will common and uncommon NFTs have have a chance to beat high tier NFTs such as Mythic or the extremely lucrative Eldritch?
Yeah. There is no. It's not just rarity that counts during combat. We have skills, equipment. We have level. Probably a common level 20 would kick ass any Eldritch level 10, something like that, because have the base attributes that increase over level up. Now talking about a full common team max level and a Eldritch full team max level, which probably it's not going to be a thing for some time. I wouldn't expect the common to have a lot of chance, but I would say that we're going to balance that if the Eldritch Honor team is going to just mindless pick basic attack for everything, probably the common, if they have like a good strategy, they would have a chance. But when you say 1-to-1, I think the higher Rarity is going to outpace the common if they have the same level, the same strategy, the same equipment, because then the only difference is the base attribute. And when you're talking about the rarity of the NFTs, the only difference you have there are the base attributes by the end of the game. Yeah. If it's level 1, probably common could have a higher base attribute than Eldritch, maybe, based on the Tamago gameplay, but we are going to talk that about later.
Yeah, so it's not a total wash if you have a lower
Yeah.
rarity, um, but it certainly opens up build options and stuff like that if somebody has a higher rarity Devakin just because they have higher overall stats.
Yeah. And one thing that we're planning as well, we mentioned a few times, we're planning to have like red limit competition. So we said we are gonna planning to do like a pauper competition where a team has to be composed of common only. So if everyone has just common, they would have a chance for that competition. I don't know how frequently that's gonna be, but yeah, probably you're gonna have like this rarity. Or one idea we had as well is to make a overall pool. Let's say, okay, you have to build a team where's the sum up of all four NFTs. The overall it's 100. So we could pick like one Eldritch and three like 12, 13, or you could pick 5, 25 commons, something like that. You can build your strategy, so that gives more utility to the common and uncommon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, moving on to the next question, are basic attributes better than having a good affinity? Affinity has more to do with influencing attributes.
Yeah, the early game, the basic attributes they are gonna uh, be the best. They're gonna be the what it rules the combat. But as the affinity is the how fast a basic attribute grows over level up, the end game it's better having a good affinity than the higher basic attributes, because that's gonna grow over time based on the affinities. So I would say look for the good affinity if you're looking for the end game play. But I think you skipped the Francis Exalted question.
Gosh, I looked right past it. Sorry,
Yeah.
I missed somebody's question. Francis from Exalted, that's my bad. You can shout at me in Discord later. When will the hardmenting process for soft minted NFTs be done? That's a pretty important question. I know a lot of
Yeah.
people have been asking about that.
Yeah.
What can we expect?
We are that's the most question right now along when marketplace. We don't have an estimate, but we are working on that. That's gonna definitely drop before the marketplace. I wanna give any date because people create expectation on that. But yeah, give us a couple of weeks. I think you're gonna see that on the inventory.
Yep. So we're moving forward on it. We know a lot of people are curious about
Yeah.
being able to hardmint their soft minted NFTs. It's coming. We have another question from G Shiba asking us, will you ever release an application on PC or just on mobile?
The game itself just on mobile. On PC, we kind of have the inventory as a website. So, but as the game, I don't see that coming to PC.
Yeah, that takes like a whole other round of, I mean, like even the user interface design, having to adjust from mobile to PC, having to change how the control scheme works based on touchscreen versus mouse and keyboard, right? It's
Yeah.
if you design one game around mobile, it's very hard to translate it to a desktop system or a console system. If you design it for PC, it's a lot easier to kind of backtrack and downgrade it, if that makes sense. We don't have any intentions to release the game on PC. If you'd like to emulate it, you can, but we don't suggest doing so just because of how mobile games function. It's not the same experience.
Yeah.
We have a question from Charizard, best Pokemon. When's the sneak peek of Tamagotchi gameplay? When are we going to be able to see raising our Devakins? What can we expect?
Okay, so save the date there. We have in our internal schedule, and we are shared just in firsthand today. We're planning to release a core gameplay footage on November 5th on YouTube. So that's where you should show off the Tamagotchi gameplay for the first time.
Yeah, so
Bear in mind,
that's
it's still a alpha footage, so some details might change. But yeah, that's when you're gonna release the Devkins gameplay for the first time.
awesome. So look forward to next month. We're going to start putting out a lot more information with gameplay. So it's not just NFTs and contests and all that good stuff coming from me.
Yeah.
We have a question from Bisaya Devakins from Exalted Guild. Are limited personalities part of the pool in regular mint or also during procreation? So I imagine what they're asking is if they purchase NFTs, they have the option to get a limited personality. Can we also gain those when doing breeding gameplay?
Yeah. So in the pool, yes, if there is a event going on, like we had the Clever last week, minor, lavish, and glitched, they are not. They are never supposed to be in the pool. Like they were like a giveaway from the mining event. During procreation, if one of the source, the parents there, they have like this special limited personality, there is a 10% chance of inheritance. But if the personality is going to be like a mutation, that's most likely. No, you can only get basic personality from the mutation, the personality mutation.
Yeah. And so this kind of falls back to the question that we just had with like sneak peek of Tamagotchi gameplay. Henny14 asked, will you have a short video of the NFT game? We're looking
Yeah,
at posting some gameplay come November. We want
yeah,
to give you guys a better idea of what's going on, show off what we have. We're finalizing assets and stuff like that. We've had gameplay, but showing off true alpha gameplay doesn't look very pretty, so we wanted to wait until we had assets finalized to really show off what things will look like closer to release, rather than this weird mesh between prototyping and functionality.
yeah.
The behind the scenes of game development can be very clunky for the first few weeks putting something together, and then you tack more on and tack more on, and it starts to come together and look prettier and prettier. Next question from Fall Secure. Is there a guide on how to train our NFTs and how to develop specific attributes when gameplay comes around?
I wouldn't say a guide, but in our alpha Tamagotchi gameplay review, we are gonna not just show the gameplay, but we're gonna have like a voiceover explaining how the game is gonna work, and probably you're gonna touch how the Tamagotchi is gonna reflect the attributes training. So that would be like a soft guide.
Yeah. I want to put out more guides as we go forward and just give people community tools to work around, because I know that, especially with a crypto game, gaming in general is complicated. There's always going to be people who want to figure things out. I know that I end up Googling things for half the new titles I play. We'll be putting out ways to help people and make sure that everybody's smooth along and has a pretty good experience when playing. But moving on from Dacians, what will the currency be, or will there be a currency used in procreation? Do you have an idea of what the average price would be? I mean, it would depend on the currency used.
Yeah. The currency plan, it's DVK. That's gonna be the currency used along an item that is gonna needed to spend to procreate. Regarding about the price, we are planning to be like a curve of price percentage based on the NFT current price, whereas the first procreation is cheaper than a regular shop NFT, and it gets more expensive as you have more procreation count. But we don't have the final numbers yet. We're still playing around that.
Yeah, numbers are the most difficult part of game design. There are a lot of
Yeah.
spreadsheets.
Yeah.
A lot of spreadsheets.
Yeah, but one thing that we kind of decided that the first few procreation is going to be cheaper than buying a random NFT in the shop.
Yeah. We've got a second question from Felsecure. Are you still on track, or will the timetable be adjusted on all deliverables? I think this question was asked before we put out the Medium article the other day, discussing how we're going to be going into a beta come December, closed beta, which will then be followed by an open beta once that's finalized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that answers.
Yeah.
But as we said during the shop revamp, some parts of the game development have stopped, so it's looking good.
Yeah, everything has been going on relatively smoothly, even with the shop hitches and everything that arose from that. Design has still been happening, development has still been happening. The art team, which tends to be the bulk of the work in game development, at least in terms of how time intensive it is. Um, they weren't affected by the shop because they weren't involved in the shop. They're the art team. They're making game art, right? So that was still moving smoothly.
Yeah.
We have a question from Clever.
There's even one meme that I saw on Discord that someone took a screenshot of Erica playing video game during the shop.
Yeah.
The first attempt, she was she was a artist, a freelance artist, so she couldn't do nothing during the shop. So that's not true that people were playing game while the shop was being worked on.
Yeah, I think Erica went back to school.
Yeah.
Yeah, Erica worked with us briefly, and I remember somebody asking us on Discord, why is Erica playing New World right now? We're like, well, she went back to school. She's not working with the team anymore, but she likes to hang out in the Devakins Discord.
Yeah.
From Bond27, for the marketplace and earn to play, what's your security like?
By security, you mean like web security? Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure. I would imagine it's just to prevent people from getting scammed.
Yeah. For marketplace, you're working with Clever. They have a bunch of experience on that, and I think that's going to work like a regular marketplace. You deposit your NFT, you make the order there, you put to purchase, and that's all. So the marketplace is going to work as like a middleman, and I think that's pretty secure. And for the earn and play, the gameplay itself, you're doing as a custody as well, so we can have this layer of security of running all in our servers.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's the standard.
Yeah, I mean, like, with the marketplace, that certification that prevents scams from going through just by itself. I mean, like, peer-to-peer, you have to wait for one person to transfer and go back and forth. And you have a software facilitated middleman.
Yeah, and the gameplay itself, all the critical parts are doing server side, so the client is not gonna send anything to the server, and the server is gonna believe on that. It's all the client's more like a shell that just send comments to the server, and server is gonna process that. So I think we see that like a security layer, so players cannot memo edit and kind of say, okay, my Devakin has a 9 million power, so it's gonna hit kill every character on the other team, and that was my easy win. Check, server give me the rewards. That's not going to be like that. The combat and simulation is going to run on the server side.
Yeah. And this is a pretty big question. I know we've had a lot of people asking this one because they're unsure of how this actually functions, but DarkJP asked, may we know the pay-to-earn mechanics during the Tamagotchi phase? How do they function, right? He does ask for any graphics or charts. Obviously, that hasn't been put together quite yet. But how can players expect to pick up DVK from play-to-earn systems?
Yeah, we have 3 mechanics. Actually, that's for more like combat itself. Everyone, I think someone asked what that DVK pool means on the main screen share yesterday. So we mentioned that we have mything seeds as like a soft currency in the game. The idea is the players gonna gather mything seeds during the week, and once a week you're gonna share DVK based on their gathering of mything seeds. So imagine you're gonna have like a DVK pool for that week, so everyone knows how many DVK we have to be shared. And then based on their sharing mythics, they gather during the week, doing daily missions, doing void adventures that in our first white paper was mentioned as scavenger mission. So we rebrand that as void adventures. So they gather that, and then it's shared proportionally based on how many seed they earn that week.
Yeah, aside of that, earn and distribution.
Yeah. Aside of that, we plan to, the PvP part, have like straight DVK earnings, not be based on shared. And we do have another DVK stream of earning, but we are not ready to share about that yet.
Cool. Another really common question. Oh, sorry, did you want to say something? You waved your arms there.
No, so in short answer, we have like 3 ways of earning DVK.
Okay. I'll wave my hands as well, just to make sure that you're not feeling left out. Question from Reds. Do we have an incoming scholarship program for Devakins?
Yeah, we said we saw that like not a thing for Devakins because of the NFT was supposed to be affordable, but then it was when it had like soft mint and hard mint. Since right now we have only the mint or the hard mint that we call mint, and the price kind of step up a bit. We are checking how to implement scholarship in Devkins. So we are talking about that. That's not a feature you're gonna say you're gonna have, but we're seeing how we're going to do that because, as I said, the intricacies of the Tamago gameplay kind of makes that a bit challenging since
Yeah,
the during the Tamago gameplay, the attributes of your Devkin they can be potentialized. How good you play the Tamagotchi can play. So would players willing to like lend their Devkin and the other player who's kind of take care of that didn't play well and they kind of sever the base attributes on that. And as I said, the distribution of mythicides. So we have to see how to approach that. I think for a combat point of view, which it's for phase two, I think that's more straightforward how to do a scholarship.
yeah, that's certainly easier to work around that rather than a raising system that can stunt the Devakin in some way.
Yeah,
Uh, it's in discussion. We're talking about it. We're trying to see if it's an option, but we can't make any guarantees. But it's certainly on the table and something that we're looking at
yeah.
with potential. So, from Veen, when do you plan to transfer to the Clever blockchain, and how much cheaper would the gas fees be compared to Tron?
We plan when we feel that's the right moment. They did a test net, I believe last week or 2 weeks. Yeah, last week on 15th. They have to full release that, and we're gonna see the stability. And when you see that's the moment you're gonna move there. So there is no specific ETA
Yeah,
yet. How much cheaper is gonna be the fee? We need to know how the KLV fee is gonna play in the blockchain.
yeah.
There is no way of measuring that yet.
It'll be
But
ready when it's ready, is what it
yeah,
boils down
the
to.
expectance is that the gas fee is gonna decrease.
Yeah. So we had this question asked earlier. I guess we'd like to summarize again for people who haven't been watching. But Keon asks, does Rarity and the level of Devakins greatly affect the PvP aspect of the game in the coming future? Or is it skill-based and using an uncommon or common NFT, you could still par up with a higher rarity? A higher rarity will still have an advantage in some way just through inherent stat gain, but it doesn't immediately sign away the win for that user. You'll still have ways to play around them. If they're going on autopilot, you're probably going to be able to kick them in the head,
Yeah,
right?
and if you have like a pair of uncommon, you can create a rare with procreation. Then with a pair of rare, you can get a mythic. So I would say if you have like just common right now, you still can get to your like mythic and some generations. So I would just say you're stuck with common and uncommon.
Yeah. I also see in the comments section a lot of people are asking, can my Devakin die? Your Devakins can't die.
No.
You're not going to have Devakins die on you. If you don't feed it, it's just going to be really sad. Think of it like a Neopet. You're going to come back to it in 15 years, remember the game exists, and go, oh god, he's been sitting
That,
there without a meal this entire time.
yeah, set and a weak adult. That's Tamagotchi, and that's why sometimes we call that the training gameplay. Because imagine that the reward of playing the Tamagotchi gameplay well, they're gonna have higher basic attributes when they become adult. So it's a head start on the RPG part of the game.
Yeah. Zenosuke asks, do you need to burn the same rarity to promote a Devakin? So, like, if you have a rare Devakin and you want to promote it, do you need to burn other rare NFTs?
Imagine that for the Eldritch, you would need 72 Eldritch to have like a full max level Eldritch. No, we don't plan to give it Rarity to need the same Rarity, but we're still playing around how the Rarity could play a part in the burn mechanics. So if you burn a higher Rarity, probably they could get a boost for the promotion, something like that, but that's still being designed. We don't have this burn mechanic until the RPG comes out, the combat comes out, because there won't be level up for adults during the Tamagotchi gameplay. So the Void Adventures, which is the mechanic aimed to the adult this phase, they won't give experience to the adult.
Yeah. Veen asks, how can you control the oversupply of NFTs since it affects the price of DVK? What are your burning mechanisms besides burning the NFTs for leveling up?
Yeah, we are planning other mechanics to burn NFTs. We talk about the skill level up, as we mentioned that it's going to be akin to material of Final Fantasy 7. Maybe we could introduce NFT mechanic to that, so we kind of put your Devakin soul to the skill, something like that. As I said, the procreation, they have like an item they need to use aside of the DVK. We are talking about of having an exchange media, as we can burn NFT to get these items. So probably we'd increase these burn mechanics even during the phase 1.
Nice. Hi, Patrick. I see you saying hello. Somebody's spamming in the chat, just waving and saying hello. There's no highs for Sergio. Sorry, man, you're just not as popular. Cypherpole asks, what are your plans to make the server stable, especially upon marketplace and game release? For someone like me who's not just an investor but a gamer myself, smooth gameplay and UI improvement matters a lot.
Yeah, I saw some were bummed out about the beta announcement, but the beta is that thing that it's important so we can offer and be sure that we have the best experience for the players. And that's why the closed beta, it's a fixed number of players and a few number, because you need to see how stable the server is. And as I said, the closed beta is not a fixed amount number of players. As we see the server is stable, we're gonna send more invites until we get the point. Okay, let's make an open beta so everyone can try the game, everyone that wants to, and then we can see for that we are okay. The server it's good enough. You can full release the game.
Yeah,
But
beta
that's
is a
the
good
beta.
stress test
Yeah.
as well. I mean, like pretty much every game studio utilizes betas in some form to just throw things at the wall and see if it sticks.
Yeah. I just enrolled to Elder Rings.
Elden Ring's beta test?
Yeah.
I didn't even know we could enroll in it. You got to link that to me after this AMA. I need to get some more souls in my life.
Yeah.
We're going off topic there, but that's a game both of us are looking forward to.
Yeah.
We have a question from Dion saying, "Can we stake our NFTs?"
No plan on that. We can stake DVK, but no NFTs.
Yeah. I think Reds asked a question earlier, but we've got another from them saying, I don't know if this question is valid, but I'm curious and I have to ask, since we need to grow our Devakin from baby to adult, do we expect that we'll need to buy food or other kind of in-game items to facilitate this? If so, will it be in-game purchases using in-game currency, or do we need to put more real money towards it?
Okay, so yeah, the Tamago gameplay, you do have items. If you need to buy or not, there is some free ways of free means of getting these items in the game. But if you're too eager and want to raise many Devakins in parallel, probably you're gonna run out of items that you have to buy. The purchase is gonna be DVK. DVK is the currency of the game. So if you have to put real money or not depends on your demand and your balance of DVK. You can earn DVK in the game. So if the DVK you're earning in the game, it's enough to buy the items to keep all your dev kits happy, then you don't have to put real money. If you wanna buy more and you don't have DVK, you can deposit DVK to the game. And one way of getting DVK is by using real money.
Yeah. And we have a question from War. How many NFTs should I own and what rarities? I mean, like a minimum team is 4, right?
Yeah.
Like if you want to have a team to go out and battle, you'll want 4. Rarities, of course, the rarer, the more of an advantage you'll have just in terms of raw stats on that.
Yeah, if you have
NFT.
like 4 Eldritch, I think it's a good start. But
yeah.
Can you do that?
You got to get struck by lightning first, and then you'll get your Eldritch.
Yeah.
But Yeah, 4 is about the amount we recommend. That'll give you a team to work with, right? But it all depends on the player, how much time they want to invest into gameplay, how much they actually want to put into the project itself. It's largely up to you. We say 4 is about a good number.
Yeah.
Zahel is just, that's the same question. Will people with higher rarities have an advantage? Yes and no.
Okay,
Benito,
actually, for the first phase.
first phase,
For the
there's
first,
definitely
yeah,
going to be an advantage because they, or not quite
no,
yet, because they
actually
haven't
not.
grown
Yeah,
enough.
no, not like a straight advantage. Like as we mentioned, the void advantage is a kind of fill the requirements minigame. We might see a void advantage that requires, let's say, one mythic in the team, but that's not the majority of the requirements of the void adventures. Most of them are related to personalities or the one affinity in a specific.
Okay.
So I would say there is no advantage per se if you own a mythic during phase one. During phase two with combat, then as we discussed before, yeah, since the attributes gonna kick in, yeah, then they probably gonna have an advantage when you're matching up same level, same equipment, same strategy, or something apart like that.
Sorry, we've had one user spam Sergio, I like your mustache at least 15 times.
Yeah,
It's a good
thank you.
mustache. That's a fancy looking mustache. You got to twirl it up, right? Go full like Snidely Whiplash.
Yeah, that was like a company party. Was supposed to be Gala, Gatsby, or something like that.
The Great
And then
Gatsby,
yeah,
like
the
some
Great Gatsby.
1920s with the big twirled mustache.
Yeah, that was the theme. So I had like a core of that.
Yeah, this is no longer an AMA stream, it's a mustache stream. We're going to be discussing beard grooming, hair care.
I'm interested in that.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. Also, just remember, guys, we're at the halfway point for questions right now, but I'd like to remind everybody we're doing a giveaway of 5 collector's packs. Post your wallet in the comments section. We'll be selecting 5 users randomly and giving away those NFTs. At the end of the day, right, we'll randomly select users from the comments section, and hey, you have a chance to get NFTs, right? So pop that down in the comments, right? We'll have a chance to win. Moving on, we have a question from Benito. What will the in-game items be like? Also, can we trade or sell them or upgrade these items?
Upgrade, yes. Trade and sell, we don't know yet. If we turn that in NFT, which is open yet, we are not saying it's not going to be NFT or it's going to be NFT, then yeah, you're going to trade and sell. But for upgrade, yes, for the combat part, like I said, skill, equipment, that we are planning to have this scale of upgrade and evolution.
Awesome. Another question from Falsecure. Why would you limit the NFT maximum level to 100? Why not increase it to 150, 200, or even 500?
Or 9,999, like Gaia. We had to come up with a number. 100 looks like a nice way of balancing things. It doesn't mean that long way, let's say 3 years, 4 years from the game end, we could say, okay, now we can reach to 110, 120, whereas the progression, it's way slower. It's just we need a number, and 100 fits well for
Also,
balancing.
with the promotion mechanics and having to burn NFTs to level up,
Yeah.
if we had things go up into like the 500 tier, I can't begin to imagine the amount of NFTs somebody would have to burn to get to that level, especially on the scaling system it's on already. 100's a good number. You'll find that a lot of numbers in game development chosen for maximum levels and stuff like that are just an arbitrary limit that allows the designers to work within a certain balancing scheme and scale things in a reasonable manner. It just helps make sure gameplay is smooth.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, like Diablo 3 was 70, right?
Diablo 3 was, maximum level 70.
Yeah. World of Warcraft, it's some random number as well, right?
World of Warcraft would go up in like increments of 10, but sometimes it would go up in increments of 5. You'll find that level limits tend to be arbitrary. It's just whatever works for the balancing system and for the amount of progress that you want to fit in during that expansion or that round of content.
Yeah, like Darkest Dungeon, max level 6. They
Yeah.
decided to go with 6. Yeah.
We have a question from Kismet1019. When breeding, does the rarity of the genes affect the affinities, or is it just aesthetic? So, genes are just aesthetic. Genes are
Uh,
just what your Devakin look like, right? It's cosmetic. The rarer, the cooler it'll look more often than not, but it's
yeah.
predominantly cosmetic.
As I said, we are still not close on skills, but I see we could have some skills that play with giving like bust based on the red of the genes, but that's just an extra thing. Right now, the it's just aesthetic.
Yeah, it's cosmetic for the time being. There might be
Eh,
something we can do more with it later, but
yeah,
that's us just totally spitballing here. That's not a confirmation. That's not even us saying we'll look into it.
but I
It
like
could
that idea.
happen, but who knows? It's a cool
Yeah,
idea. Yeah.
yeah, it's
Um,
another layer of complexity and strategy. It makes more fun, but makes more difficult to make harder to balance it.
yeah, it certainly makes it more difficult to balance, especially when you have systems tacked onto systems.
Yeah,
Going back and discussing WoW, you have a lot of different gameplay systems feeding into one another. It makes it extremely, extremely difficult to balance in one way or another, especially if you have multiple routes of gameplay, right? You have PvE and PvP. One thing may not work for another because different abilities will always work better in different situations. You're broadening the chance to mess things up, essentially, and to make an imbalanced product.
yeah.
Polzone asks, I just want to know what the purpose of personality is. Is it just to add in attributes, or are there more bonuses to having personalities, like the clever one?
They are a key requirement for the Void Adventures. So basic Void Adventure asks for like specific teams of specific personalities. So that's more like one of the key features of the Void Adventures. Combat wise, I don't see aside of the bonus affinity.
Yeah, it influences. I can't even speak right now. I really need that coffee. It influences stats to some degree, but also with the Void Adventures, right? Sending
Yeah,
off your Devakin to go mess things up, fight monsters, and do all those good things.
to the
They'll
grocery.
have bonuses and cons in some way, shape, or form, but that's relegated to that.
Yeah,
Tiberto T asks the extremely important Shakespearean question: Where Lambo?
in
It's
a
at the
car dealership.
dealership. Yeah, I
Yeah,
was gonna say it's at the dealership. I don't have a
yeah.
Lambo. I actually don't even know how to drive, so don't ask me. I'm the wrong person to ask. It's in Forza.
Yeah.
Goldie Henyo asks, Tamagotchi is going into the beta phase. You'll only select a few players as beta testers outside of the early adopters group. Is there a basis in how we're going to be selecting those beta testers, right? Is there some sort of prerogative somebody needs to meet?
I don't think so. I think we usually when games do beta test, when they ask for beta test, they just ask people to kind of lease to send a to enroll with email, and they kind of send that randomly. I think there's no rules for that. Yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
a random
it's
based
anybody
system.
outside of the early adopters group are probably going to be setting up a submission form and then just random selection.
Yeah,
I think that gives people the most open chance for it, right?
yeah.
Just to make sure that the people outside of the early adopters group have a relatively equal chance of being able to jump in and join the closed beta. Open beta, of course, will be open once we reach that point.
Yeah. And as I said, it's not a fixed number. Let's say we start with 100. It doesn't mean that's going to be 100 players only during all the beta period. We're going to increase that as we feel confident with the game.
Yeah.
So if you
Um,
don't get picked on day one, don't say, okay, I'm not playing the game anytime soon. It might not be true.
Cyborg asks, will equipment have rarity? And then also is a second question to follow up, not related to equipment. When procreating and making a new Devakin, will the resulting child look different, or do they gain some looks from their parents? Um, That's actually in the NFT white paper, which can give you a better idea of some of the results, but Sergio can give you a better rundown here.
Yeah, the equipment, the piece of equipment, they have a Rarity. We're still designing that, but I think any good RPG you have these different tiers of equipment and skills. For the procreation, yeah, they most of the time they inherit from the parents with a small chance of mutation. When we say mutation, we reroll that gene anew. But yeah, most of the time they're gonna result a mix between the two parents.
It's like people in real life. They can look
Yeah,
like their parents. They can also look different. You sort of get your own thing going on. It tends to be a mishmash.
yeah,
Um, Grars asks us three questions. Aside from the Devakins themselves, where there'll be auxiliary NFTs like armor and weapons, I don't think we have any plans to make equipment into individual NFTs. That's not something we're doing. Those are going to be treated just as standard in-game items that you can utilize as in any other title, right?
yeah.
Will there be seasons in PvP plus regular balance patches? Seasons, of
Yes,
course, are something that will be rolling out, right, with different rewards that you can get at the end of it, depending on your placement within regular balance patches, of course. Right,
yeah,
this is a game with PvE and PvP elements. We want to make sure that we're not sitting around and having maybe an instance that goes by for perhaps a month where one specific technique is absolutely dominant. That's not fun, right? We are all players of games as well. We understand how frustrating it can be to play a game and find that perhaps there's one strategy that just doesn't really have any answers, or the answers it does have aren't very good. Balance
yeah,
patches are an integral part of that. Seasons as well. Keep people having fun, right? You have something to work towards on a regular basis, right? Third question from Grars: is there a way to send NFTs to other players or wallets, for example, as a prize for a raffle contest? I believe so.
yes, it does.
Like
Yeah,
right now, you can.
I shared a guide how to do that, but right now it's not that friendly. You have to. I wouldn't say to have now you'd need like a bare minimum experience using Tron scan with a website to
Yeah,
check
you need
all
to know
the.
how to utilize the blockchain.
Yeah, but there's a guide out there. So if
Yeah,
you really want to send to a friend, do a raffle, use that guide. If you want to do a P2P selling, I wouldn't. I would say wait for the marketplace because the chance of being scammed it's really high.
yeah. Peer to peer is something that I had to shut down on Facebook as an example on the official Facebook group because we had far too many people putting up scam links and stuff like that, and people being taken advantage of. Wait for the marketplace. If you want to do giveaways, that's fine, right? The giveaway doesn't depend on any actual transaction taking place because you're simply taking an NFT and giving it to somebody. But if you're expecting DVK in return, unless you have a really, really, really good middleman or you have anything else going on, wait for the marketplace, right? We don't
Yeah,
want people to get scammed. We know how much it sucks to get scammed. It's not a good feeling. It can absolutely ruin your day or week.
yeah.
Before the
And when
marketplace, play it
sending,
safe.
yeah, pay attention to not send the NFT to the NFT contract. We had two players doing that, and we
Yeah.
can't retrieve that. Sorry, but
Yeah,
yeah,
if you send NFTs directly to the NFT smart contract itself,
yeah,
they're lost in the void, right? They've
yeah,
disappeared into the mist. There's no way to get those back. They're beyond even our reach. And I know a lot of people are asking in the chat. Daniel's saying this is not a spam as he spams. Classy. But people are asking about a guild system. We are planning on
yeah,
integrating a guild system. There's a reason we have guild chat in
yeah,
the Discord right now. It's going to happen, right? You can expect to have a guild. You can expect to have like different events. Oh my gosh, I need to log in and change Google accounts right here because I cannot. But yeah, no, guild systems are going to be in the game. They're going to be an integral part of it. They're going
yeah.
to be there. Don't worry, you'll have chat, you'll have all that. You'll get
I think, as I mentioned, the first MAA for phase one, I don't see a lot of movement with guilds. But as the combat kicks in, we're probably gonna have raids and down the road and events, guild on events and stuff like that. And we do have. I think for the first part of the game, probably guild's gonna be just a group that have like a separate chat. We're still studying gifting abilities, so like having Clash Royale. Once a day, you can require item, and a guildmate can give you that item, something like that. That it would be like the guild during phase one.
Yeah. Kung Pao asks, are you guys planning to have a secondary token? This isn't referring to the mint seeds, but I imagine they're asking if we'll have, like
A real
KLV.
cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
Yeah. No plans for that so far. Yeah, we have the procreation items. That could be like a different collection of tokens, but I think that's gonna just increase the gas fee and stuff like that. And since it's only inside the game, I don't think we would be that smart to create the procreation item as a token. But that would be a good candidate to have to be turned into a token.
Yeah, we don't want to
But
make things any
no,
more
no. Short
complicated than
answer is no. Yeah.
necessary. Right? I mean, like, simplicity is the name of the game. Tenny Fang asks, since the game is a JRPG, will moves get stronger versions and therefore different names and larger animations? I mean, like, the first thing that comes to mind is Persona with, like, the scaling ice, fire, lightning abilities, right? Where they go up in tier and potency, and they also get grander and larger and fancier animations.
Yeah, I don't see why not. That increased the development time, but we could start with like just one base animation, and as we evolve the game, we can add new ones. And yeah, we're gonna give you the full experience of RPG.
Yeah. MSG2, Uncle Roger must love this guy talking about MSG. Whether it be a sneak peek or white paper update regarding Devakin skills, also the skills those hardmented Devakins are able to get. So essentially, like, will we get an idea of what people have to play with within the game itself? Like, what abilities, what moves, so on and so forth?
Yeah, that's to be designed. We might get a white paper explaining that, like we did for the NFT itself. The which skill they get, we are planning to have like a equip based skill, so they are not going to be fixed by in the Devakins, because we see this as a more flexible way of releasing new skills. Because imagine you have your Eldritch season one, and they have that fixed skills, and then release new skills, then you want to use that's invalidate your Eldritch. So we think that there are two different systems. So with skills, they work like more Pokemons, like moves, so we can equip and unequip that.
Unequip them.
Yeah.
Yeah. XG from Exalted Guild asks, since this is a JRPG, will we have PvE combat with item drops?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We plan that. And Liz having a blast, I believe, writing the PvE's acts.
Scenarios and the story
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Yeah, the lore
Yeah.
is going to be fun. The rule is that there are no rules. The void is it's a place. Things go on. Most people are crazy. It's going to be entertaining. I'm looking forward to actually being able to put that out for you guys, and hoping that this is the first mobile game that is actually funny when it comes to the story. A question from Patrick: since burning 4 to create 1, Devakin is not being continued, is there any mechanic replacement for it? I think we had this question show up earlier from Scott.
Yeah, we had to turn down that. It was more for a technical question, because since everything is done in the blockchain right now, you can like recreate things as we go. We don't have any mechanical replacement for it right now. We trying to brainstorm something, but there is no good idea for that.
Yeah, we don't have an answer to it right this second. We may in future, but don't kind of put your eggs in that basket right now.
Yeah.
Naspy1896 asks, not to spoil the game, but could you please share some information about the Devikins training gameplay? Do they have scavenger missions? Yeah. I mean, like, we discussed this earlier. We've discussed this in the white papers.
Yeah.
It's
The
pretty
train
straightforward,
gameplay,
I imagine.
yeah, and the train gameplay, we're gonna see that in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, you're going to be getting to be able to witness that properly soon,
Yeah.
right? We're going to be trying to get that out within early to mid-November.
Yeah.
Question from the Great Gatsby of Exalted Guild. Does having multiple teams of 4 Devakins give you an advantage in terms of earning potential? So
I
multiple full teams, multiple full suites
Yeah.
yeah.
I see that for PvE. For PvP, as I said, probably if you have your main team, if you have a good common team and uncommon team, because you want to create this PvP tier, so to get more utility to
Yeah, we want
this
to
low
create rarity
tier.
tiers, Pauper League and stuff
Yes.
like that.
And for PvE, I see we could have like dungeons that it's one ancestry only, so it gives like different dynamics for team and creation, and that would give more advantage because you can achieve more in the game. But I wouldn't say that that's the main thing. You have to have many teams. I'd say it would just open more doors in the game.
Yeah, you have more options. It doesn't necessarily directly increase your earning potential, but it just gives you more things to do if you have a variety of teams to play around with. Guys, we see your chat right now. Please stop spamming. I don't want to have to time everybody out. We have a question from Scream Gamer of Mythos Guild. Once the Clever blockchain is launched and we move over there from Tron, do we need to do something with regards to our NFTs, or are they going to be automatically transferred over? Note that almost all of our NFTs are hard mints underneath Tron right now. Yeah, I mean, I imagine the majority of NFTs that exist within the game space right now are on Tron.
Yeah, it's early to say, but I see that we might create like a bridge where you'd kind of send your Tron NFT, and then that would be recreated on Clever. But that's just me speculating. We need to know more about Clever blockchain, how that's gonna turn out. But yeah, we have to revisit that later. It's too early to talk about that.
Yeah.
But that's the idea. We'd have like a transfer.
I've seen a lot of people asking if we're going to have bonded genes for other members of the team, right? Other members of like the development team.
Yeah.
If we had the time, right?
Yeah.
Sure. It's just not a focus right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's certainly something we can do. It's just not a priority, right? Actual gameplay comes first. I'm not so narcissistic as to feel the need to see myself in the game. I'm perfectly happy just to be able to write the lore. Does having... Oh, sorry. Just asked that question. So we have a question from T. Kirsten. We saw this one and we feel like we need to clear up some misconceptions. Whenever there is a massive sale of NFTs, I've noticed the price of DVK consistently drops. The blockchain is seeing this as a DVK dump, which lowers the price. All at the same time, the price of NFTs are incrementally increasing. That's not actually how the blockchain functions. Sergio can give you a little bit better of a rundown on that.
Yeah, the price the price movement is based on supply and demand. There is nothing relate direct to the NFTs. One thing that you note, the DVK, what happened with the DVK is when we have to move to the hard mint, since there is the TRX upfront, that was not a like an increase of TRX because that would be the hard mint portion was like a 2 steps, but since we kind of matched that in 1 step, so we saw that many people had to sell the DVK to get TRX to buy the packs, and that kind of, since we had more people selling than buying, that creates dump. That's not related to the people buying the DVK. The DVK from the sale is still like locked; it's not being used, so there is no dump from that part. It's more like how blockchain works. It's supply and demand. That's not related to the selling the sale of NFT.
Yeah, it's not. They're not inversely
Yeah,
related. Not in that
yeah.
manner.
But as I said, I'm a game developer. I'm not like a financial. So if anyone thinks that it's that correlated, we don't see it as correlate. So more NFT, DVK worse, less. I think there's no reason of that.
Yeah. Summer Calix keeps asking in the comment section, does being a mod have salary? No. It's volunteer work. It's people who are passionate or just spend a lot of time on Discord or on Telegram and already help people out just in their own time. There's no salary bonus and stuff like that. Like, you get to hear a little bit about things earlier, but
Yeah.
there's no monetary bonus for somebody moderating, so don't go asking that. Dash from Mythos Guild asks, many investors on my Telegram group are transitioning to other games and losing their patience because they feel like the game is becoming pay to play. With the rise of new NFT games, the competition will be hard, so how are you planning to compete with them while in the development phase?
Yeah, I don't see why the game is becoming pay to play, because usually pay to play is when you can buy more to get better items.
Like
We
pay to
had the
win?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. As we said, the only thing that we have to buy now it's the NFT, and we require one to play Tamagotchi while they are dev kit. If you want to play a full team, it's 4, and then 7 to get the max team. If people are still playing, buying the NFTs as because they like the look, they like to collect them, I don't see you have to pay to play the game. One thing that it's a lesson learned is that I believe the team believed that we announced the project too early when we started developing. That's a lesson learned. We should have hold off more development and then announce. I understand that now because many players are impatient about this wait,
Yeah.
but it's all done, and we are not gonna rush the project to just release as soon as we want to release the best product we can, and that takes time. If you are guys are bear with us, I think you're not gonna be disappointed. But as people are impatient, you're not gonna rush the development and deliver a poor product just because people are impatient about that.
Yeah, we certainly announced things a bit earlier than we were supposed to, so we
Yeah,
ended up in this weird kind of staggered moment where
and
we're
one thing
still in
that
the midst of development and there's only so much information we can put out because it is being developed, right? Things are subject to change, right?
yeah.
So there's a sorry, go ahead, Sergio.
No, and in that note, I saw some players. They kind of acted like surprised with the decisions we made with about NFT, and it seems that they didn't know about that, but that information about the shop and stuff like that is since day one. And I even had some players, not some players, just a few, asking to close the shop and let just the supply be controlled by the players. But that's in the page on NFT white paper that we're proposing a different stream of that. So I don't know. People are acting surprised that we are taking the decision we said would.
Yeah.
The only thing that I said that our mistake is to talk the game about too early in the project. But that's out there, and we are developing.
Yeah, kicked off too early. Things got a little awkward because we're like, hey guys, we're super excited about Devakins. And then there was 2 weeks without news, and we're like,
Mm.
yeah, all right, that went well. We have a question from Via. Any plans on having the game live for the public in Apple App Store and not just in test flight? Because Apple has a history of either removing crypto-related apps or asking for a commission on the game's in-app purchases. Do you have any plans to handle those issues? Also, and I know a lot of people are asking this in the comments as well, what's the amount of time we need to take care of our Devakids until they become adults? Is there an estimated amount of days, weeks, months, yada yada, assuming we are very active in providing for their needs?
Yeah. For the Apple, yeah, we see that we are not having enough purchase of the items, and we so far, and that's only speculation. We don't see many issues with DVK since it's going to be like a custody system that works like a regular currency in any game. So imagine that you're buying a pack of crystals in Clash Royale. You have like these green crystals, and you buy with that, and you have the fee. Yeah, and that we are willing to pay in the in-app purchase. But we don't, since we are Devakins is this custody, I think we can kind of I wouldn't say hide, but have this not be so straightforward with the crypto relate with the game itself. It could be just a regular game. And imagine that the DVK is only inside a currency in the token that you could exchange that by withdrawing. And I think there's a few games that do like with PayPal, so we can withdraw and get credit with PayPal money, and we see the DVK being something like that. So the in-app purchase, probably the only in-app purchase in the game is going to be to buy DVK, and it's going to be the Apple share, and I think that's one thing that we cannot bypass off, and you're okay with that.
Yeah, Apple's a titan. You can't really fight that.
Yeah.
Right?
Even though Epic, I think, won that
They
lawsuit,
won
right?
and lost the lawsuit with Epic Games. It was kind of like a give or take. Like Epic got what they wanted out of it, Apple got what they wanted out of it.
Yeah.
It was convoluted. Also,
And
with the taking care of your Devakids, I believe it's about a week.
yeah,
to
right now
raise
we
your
are playing
Devakid?
with 7 days. Yeah, so 7 days
Yeah.
we have to take care of that training, look out for the needs, and yeah, right now it's for 7 days. When we have like the closed beta, we might have a feedback and kind of shift that a bit, but yeah, right now it's 7 days.
Yes, Ali, you're being seen in YouTube chat. We have a predetermined amount of questions we're asking right now. We can look at some of them in YouTube chat, but we put down, I think about a week ago, asking people to ask their questions in Discord, on Twitter, and Telegram, so on and so forth, just so we could go through and have something to actually reference. ADRN asks, what strategies would be made to sustain the rewards pool, and where do you see Devakins 5 to 10 years from now?
Yeah, so if it's stating in the white paper, we have like many of the DVK to be minted yet, and that's gonna be used for the rewards pool, and that gives us 5 years of not having to take DVK from other sites. But since we know that's a finite pool, our idea is to build a second pool for the next 5 years and keep that with
Yeah.
since we have the DVK mechanics inside the game, we're going to spare a share of that, and we probably have some buyouts DVK from the market as well. So yeah, long story short, we have 5 years good for DVK since you have this pool, and then you are aware that we need to build another 5 years, and during that 5 years, build another five years of and keep the rewards pool.
Yeah. We also see an interesting question from Floro in chat, which hasn't been asked in Discord or anything like that. But for those who are in the closed beta, what occurs in the closed beta, what occurs in the open beta, will that be carried over to live gameplay when we fully launch? Like, if you make any progress within the beta, will that be carried through?
Okay, and we still design the beta rules. I see that one idea that I see the beta in two phases. Probably we're gonna have like one beta phase, the first one with I wanna say it's a virtual DVK. It's not actual earning or spending DVK. It's just to check the stress, the game server, and the game part of the game. That being test out, then we're gonna move to the crypto integration part, where it's gonna have like a earning and spending in DVK. Probably it's not gonna be 100% of the play to earn things, because not everyone's gonna have access to that. But that's the way we plan to be the closed beta. About progression, I think we might have to roll out that. We still have to see, like, during the virtual phase, we're going to probably do that, since you're not dealing with DVK, not dealing with your real NFT. But then the crypto part, we might have this progression roll over that. But we still define the rules. But I like this idea of splitting the beta in two parts.
Yeah.
Because then we can test different aspects of the game. And deal with different sort of problems.
I'm just making sure I'm not interrupting you. We have a question from Akira Genki. They asked us, what will be the plan for those players or investors holding too many NFTs? Will there be staking? Answered that earlier. Staking's not a plan for NFTs. Stake DVK. You can't stake NFTs. Yeah. We also have intensive burn mechanics for promotion, for building up your Devakin. we have ways to make sure that the NFT price fluctuates because players have this kind of push and pull system within the actual kind of behind the scenes gameplay itself, like not the actual intent of like, yeah, you're fighting somebody, but the in between moments as part of the gameplay loop. Secondly, are we expecting every occasion like Halloween, Christmas, Easter, etc. to have a sale? We want to have like different genes rolling out for Christmas, for Halloween, for Easter, and so on and so forth, right? Different cosmetics and stuff like that that you have the chance to get. My thoughts being surrounding this are that these aren't like specifically time gated, and that once like, say for example, the Halloween 2021 sale goes by and people attain the witch hats and the plague doctor masks, and then from there on out they can never get it again. I don't want that to be the case. I want it to be so that by the time Halloween comes around again, you can be able to attain the witch hat. You can get the plague doctor hat once more. They're added back into the pool. Along with, if we've made any more new genes that are seasonal, you can get those as well. Right? Yep. So that's the current plan with sales. Yep. Pretty straightforward. It kind of follows along with other mobile games wherein that you can get different seasonal rewards around that time. There might be new ones, you can get the old ones, so on and so forth. We have a question from Eric of Devakins. Can we keep our Devakin in the embryo stage? And if we can keep them in that state, are they not going to die? Again, your Devakin cannot die. They cannot be explicitly removed via gameplay systems. They can't be taken away from you that way. You can burn them, you can trade them away, you can sell them. They will not die.
Yeah, and they can keep in embryo stage as long as you want. You don't have to start play with that. And that's the idea of the embryo. So when you're ready to, since the next stage is a time limited stage, if you know you cannot play with that kid for the next 7 days, there is no reason why to kind of open the embryo. So yeah. It's discretionary. The user can open the embryo when they want to play with that.
Yeah. And so we have a final question here from Pioris of Mythos Guild. What's the team's stance on community developed tools? I'm building some automated tools at the moment to help with the organization of Devakins and more, but have no plans in publicizing it until I know if it's not a mortal sin to the team. So it depends on what the tool is and what the tool does. There's a pretty staggering difference between like, hey, we simulate this or we simulate that, and you can kind of figure out maybe you have this chance to get this gene from breeding and so on and so forth. I don't want there to be any tools that people feel they have to use to play the game. I think a comparison I would make would be World of Warcraft with weak auras, which are a community tool, or like deadly boss mods, bigwigs, stuff like that. Those are mandatory. If you want to play that game, you have to have those community add-ons, otherwise you cannot play the game properly. I don't want anything like that. But if we have simple outside systems, if somebody wants to make a calculator, some sort of generator, that's totally fine. Right? I don't see an issue with that. If you're ever unsure, I mean, like, we're both really active on Discord. Shoot me a DM, ping me, ask me in a help and suggestions channel. We're there, right? As long as it's within our time zone, we'll probably be able to answer the question. Just don't expect an immediate reply.
Yeah, I even helped with the procreation tool that I saw there's some mistakes there, and I pinged the players who did that, and I kind of said, okay, you have to add that rule and that other rule to improve the tool. We don't see that as a bad thing.
Yeah. I mean, like, community developed tools, I look at them as the same as a wiki, right? Yep. They're there to help, right? They're not there to demolish the actual gameplay itself. We have a question from Godsent Yurin Allegado in the chat right now. Can we fight bosses in game?
Yeah, I do have that planned, yes. Big bosses.
He's asking world bosses, so he's thinking like bringing guilds together. I don't know if something that intensive, like we're not making an MMO.
Yeah, right? I wouldn't say real time. There is one rating in mobile game that usually is a shared health bar per guild. and you go that long alone, but you do damage to the boss. Usually, you don't kill the boss in one session, but the effort of the team depletes this raid boss. And then it's a like time sensitive. We have like 24 hours to everyone to try. They have an amount of entry, or the character itself progression. It's kind of fixed. So if they die during that battle, you can't reuse that. And by the end of the period, if they manage to kill the boss, everyone gets the rewards and stuff like that. But I don't see every players in the guild in the same battle screen, even more because it wouldn't fit since it's a mobile screen.
Yeah, it's again, it's not an MMO, right? So don't expect like Guild Wars style, right, world boss fights, but we'll have events that fit within the scheme possible in mobile gameplay, where you'll be able to contribute as a group to a boss fight. Maybe it's just like how much damage your group was actually able to deal with to this boss within the span of a week with a daily attempt, right? There's a variety of ways to approach it, but again, it's not an MMO. Looking a bit through the questions still, Weston has dropped by to say that he wouldn't fight Sergio. You'll have to fly out from Halifax. We're going to give you trouble in Slack after that one. Do we first need to raise our Devakins before they're able to breed? Yeah, you can't have Devakids do that.
Yeah.
Kind of
Even though there's no rules for Devakin in Devakins in the Void, I think that's
kind of gross, my dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. No Devicest. Yeah, no. That's gonna be a hard no from me, dog. Sergio, is there a possibility to have rent a parent or something like that for breeding purposes? So being able to like coordinate with another user to have two Devakin breed. The issue is only one is produced.
Yeah.
So where's the fairness in that? You'd have to create some sort of weird community economy system where...
And we don't have lawyers in the Void, so if they want to fight for the kid, that wouldn't be easy to coordinate, so probably not.
There's no barristers, there's no lawyers in the Void, so like if you're having a custody battle, I mean like the Overlord has 3 billion children or something like that, couple billion children, it's messy.
Yeah.
It's that's a trip. I don't think you want to deal with the custody issues that can arise from the Void, because at least 4 buildings get burned down during a custody battle. It costs a lot to clean up. Since our NFTs are hard minted, if we don't hatch our hard minted NFT for Embryo, will they become weaker? No. No, there's nothing in that way. If you leave them stagnant, nothing's going to happen to it. It's just going to sit sort of like it's been cryogenically frozen. It's Han Solo, right? It's pressed up. It's not going anywhere. Will there be a limit on how many Devikins we can raise in Tamagotchi gameplay? There's not a limit, but we suggest making sure that you don't go ahead with overwhelming yourself, because you're going to have a lot to keep track of, right? You're going to have a lot of different things that you have to keep up on when you're raising the Devakin. So if you have too many, you're probably going to bite off more than you can chew if you're trying to raise like 6 or 7 at the same time. Unless you're sitting there dedicating your entire day to playing the game and you're just going on a Devikins binge, you're going to have difficulties with doing that, and you're probably going to end up with some of them falling behind just because you can't keep up on it. It's just
and we have the items factor as well.
Yeah, and the items, it's a lot, right? Like, what if you run out of things that you need to raise the Devakin? It can get messy pretty quickly. And then we're going to answer the last question, guys. Other than Eliza saying family should always stick together. Thank you for that one, Fast and Furious. But we have one user asking, are we going to do like a lore movie, a trailer, something like that? We do have plans to have a trailer coming out and relatively soon.
Yeah.
Right? We've been making pretty good progress on that. Movie's a bit much.
Yeah.
Unless somebody in Hollywood wants me to write a screenplay, like, hey, I'm a writer, I'm right here, right? Like, I'm not averse to the idea. But unless somebody approaches us and says, hey, kid, I
I'd
like your
say that.
work. I don't
Yeah,
think a
let's do a
movie's in the
movie. Then
works.
yes, probably we are too busy developing the game to think about a movie.
Yeah. So last minute reminder, guys, we're doing a giveaway of 5 collector's packs. Please post your wallet in the comments, subscribe to the channel, put that down there. That way that we have a chance to go through, pick 5 people randomly, and they'll each have a chance to get their collector's pack. So throw that down there, right? You want some NFTs? You have the chance to get some. But
Yeah.
otherwise, I think for a pretty generalized AMA, that's about what we wanted to cover. We have a little bit more to talk about with gameplay. We have more to give you guys in terms of how we're moving forward with the project and getting closer and closer to release.
Yeah.
Sergio, do you have any last words for the community? Anything you want to say for everybody? Other than, what do you use to keep the mustache so clean and so strong?
Yeah, not always clean when they get like grow big. Usually when my mustache it's like a battle with cheese, but that's too gross to discuss that. No, I want to thank everyone that stick around, and I hope you won the collector pack. You win the collector pack.
Yeah, that's 5 lucky people. So
Yeah,
thank you guys, everybody, for dropping by. We're always
yeah,
happy
and
to do these community events. Sorry, go ahead. You were saying something?
no, and for any further question, I try to answer them on Discord. You guys can go there on Telegram. Usually, yeah, I try to pass the best I can.
Yeah, we're active on Discord. We're active on Telegram. I tend to be more active on Discord. Sergio tends to be more active on Telegram. We kind of move between both. Twitter, of course, is where our main updates take place, and then we'll post that from there out to other social media platforms. But again, if you want to come by, even just to hang out and chat, go to our Discord, go to our Telegram. We have a Facebook group, right? We have social media. You can come in, you can say hi. We're there. It's not just myself and Sergio who are active. Some of the art team will come by and discuss how they're putting things together and just what they've been drawing lately. Elaine tends to have a lot of fun discussing painting. But otherwise, thank you guys for coming. We hope to do another event like this soon, and we're really eager to keep moving forward with the project and showing you guys actual proper gameplay coming up soon. And we've got the trailer. There's a lot to be excited about. So for the 15th time, thank you very much, guys. We'll catch